Today we're with Abe Velasco, Manager of Innovation at Toronto Public Library. And right now we're in the Digital Innovation Hub at Toronto Public Library's North York Central Library. Before we dive into the conversation, I'd like to take a little bit of time to understand a little bit more about you and your role as Manager of Innovation. How long have you been at Toronto Public Library?
Yes, so I actually started, it'll be 25 years in December. I started as a page when I was 14, and who knew the journey that I would take. So I've been doing the role of Manager of Innovation for about 4 years now, and I would argue it's one of the best jobs at TPL. And the main areas of focus for my job is I look after the digital innovation services at the library. So that includes our currently 8 digital innovation hub makerspaces where customers can come and interact with emerging technologies like 3D printers, recording studios, and also a whole range of other design software. And on the flip side, I also try to help cultivate a culture of innovation at the library so that staff have opportunities to pitch and incubate ideas. And related to that, it's also just getting to work with really smart staff and really amazing partners to bring all digital technology innovative ideas to life.
Wow, that's incredible. I want to understand a little bit more about when you talk about digital innovation and what that means, but I'm going to pause for a moment and introduce the idea of the 3D printers, because I heard there was something that the 3D printers were donated to the frontline health workers. Can you give me a little bit more of that?
So one of the ways that Toronto Public Library supported frontline healthcare workers during the pandemic was we lent out 10 of our 3D printers to a team at Toronto General Hospital. They used our 10 3D printers along with other 3D printers they found from other community partners to produce components using 3D printed filament to produce face shields for frontline healthcare workers. So our 3D printers, while the libraries were closed, had a direct impact on providing health and safety for frontline healthcare workers. So in the time that we lent it to them, they produced over 1,000 face shields, and the library 3D printers were credited and called the workhorse of their production because we helped produce over half of those face shields. So that was a wonderful story that came from that.
That's brilliant. Kudos to you and your team for rallying so quickly to do that. I know it instilled a lot of pride in me and my team at the foundation and the board of directors and your team as well. So it's a real privilege to be part of an organization that can play such a vital role in our community. I want to go back to a moment, and you talked about digital innovation, and I know digital literacy is a big part of that. Can you explain what digital literacy means, and why is it a strategic priority at the library?
So when I think back to when I first started the library, vinyl records were on the way out, and in the 25 years of the library, I saw things like computers become more mass available to our customers, and then the internet, and then the Wi-Fi. So that's my way of saying that digital technology in the library has always played a role in supporting digital inclusion, from the early days, and we've always just supported that role as new technologies emerge. So digital inclusion, what that means is making sure that every citizen that the library serves has access to participate in the digital economy. So first of all, that relates to access. So making sure everyone from the child to the underserved youth all the way to seniors have access to equipment and to be able to do everything that they want to do, whether it's for personal use, for academic pursuits, for professional or entrepreneurial pursuits, or just because they're generally curious about the technology. So I would say that's a big piece. And we do that every day. You step into any branch at Toronto Public Library, you can access computers, you can access the internet, you can sit at a quiet study table and have access to Wi-Fi. And then related to that is also digital literacy. So that means being able to understand and how to use modern digital technologies for all purposes, whether it's for personal reasons, to write a resume, to do a business product. And we support that in a big way. Pretty much all our library branches offer access to courses, free courses that you can take. So it's everything from how to use a mouse to using the internet, to learning about modern concepts like social media. And then on our team at the Digital Innovation Hubs, it's learning how to use creative software to do photo editing, to do 3D design, to do 3D printing, to do podcasting, to learn about virtual reality. So it's really amazing how the library supports all these things. And we're going to continue to support that. Who knows what technologies are going to be available 5 years from now? Artificial intelligence, teleportation, right? Like who knows what's going to come? And libraries are always going to play a role in adapting and making those available to everyone, because not everyone can afford that technology.
Absolutely. The library is the greatest equalizer in this city, ensuring that everyone has access to what they need to become their best selves. And I expect there's a lot of people who are listening right now who are nodding their heads in understanding and agreement of what you just said. And I also expect there's a lot of people whose minds were just blown and had no idea that not just Toronto Public Library, but libraries have really evolved to become this modern organization. And I know that when I was introduced to the library, I had a pretty good understanding of how vital the role it plays in our economic and social health. But the longer I'm here at the library, the more I really understand how essential it really is to ensuring that we close the gaps for a lot of Torontonians. And there's a lot of organizations and individuals who believe in the same. Like when you talked about the free programming, Google provides funding so that we can offer free courses to their Google IT certificate program. I think Bank of America just made a donation too, so that we can invest in more technology at the branch level. And so the brilliant work that the library is doing is attracting a lot of other experts and people who want to be part of that story. Tell me a little bit more about how the library responded from a digital standpoint when all the branches closed. Right? A lot of what you've described sounds like it might be more hands-on. And with 100 of the branches closing in mid-March, how did the digital innovation hubs or the team refocus itself to support Torontonians?
So as I mentioned, being in lockdown was very challenging for all of us. But one of the things that I can look back on with my colleagues with tremendous pride is how we pivoted in a very creative and relevant way. So I spoke about the 3D printer loan. Another example is the library. Starting in around May, we pivoted our in-branch programming online to a series called TPL Live and Online. So you could go on the website and attend a range of online programs, whether it's our Appel Salon cultural programs, to an author talk, to a personal finance course. So between May to July, library staff delivered over 250 online programs. And on the digital innovation front, we organized about 50 programs that were attended by about 500 learners, so that's about 10 learners per class, which is optimal class size. And our staff members delivered online programming and everything, including podcasting, to photo editing, digital design, how to learn HTML, CSS, Python programming. And we deliberately did programming using open source or free software so that anyone with a computer and internet access can download these tools and learn. So it was really, really rewarding to see that kind of engagement online, and it was really cool because we had people from Toronto participate, but then we had people from the West Coast. We had someone from Scotland, from Portugal participating, and the feedback we always hear from our learners is that these are valuable classes. One person actually wrote an email to our staff afterwards saying this was better than a paid class that they attended, and it's a feedback we often hear. So it was really rewarding in a sense that our staff got to really shine and showcase their skills, but at the same time we were able to innovate and pivot so quickly and through this pandemic. And we actually plan to continue to do online programming when hopefully in-branch services and programs resume, because it worked out really well.
Yeah, it certainly did. I know Toronto Public Library is the busiest library system in the world. So it's interesting to hear that you had people internationally coming in to take advantage of the online services. So when you look ahead, a little bit forward, do you see what you've learned through the pandemic changing how you bring your role to life with the library?
The biggest takeaway I think I would personally take from the pandemic is, my title is innovation, and one of the innovation principles is to work in a very agile and iterative way. Absolutely, you want to be thoughtful, you want to be meticulous, but at the same time, you just want to take an idea and just run with it, iterate, learn from feedback, and continue to evolve. So that was something that we really lived and breathed during this pandemic and lockdown. So I would say that in terms of a principle and an approach to work, I really hope that that's something that we can continue to build upon. And also I would say just working with our staff to pursue and to actualize and activate their ideas, because one of the things we found through this pandemic is our staff, we have really tremendous talented staff, and then on the flip side we have really amazing partners in the community who we can work with to bring these ideas to life. One of my favorite examples from our online programming was we worked with the Creative Innovation Studio at Ryerson University to do this 2-part podcasting program. So on the first part, people came online and learned about basic podcasting skills, and then they had homework. And then 5 days later, we had a little online listening party where people share their podcast about how they were coping during isolation. So you had someone talking about how their seeing eye dog has been affected. You had someone talking about how much they missed being with their musician friends, so they came online together to produce a music, which ended up being this podcast. And then you had someone just talking about something so simple as getting to finally go out and buy groceries. And so I think that illustrated to me there's, the library, we brought a lot of innovation, but more importantly, it's about bringing people together in this great time of need and helping to reduce social isolation.
Yeah, I agree. And the library has always been a community connector. And it was amazing to see that even with the branches closed, it continued to play that role for so many people. In fact, I know it attracted even new people, even new users with the digital library card that people could sign up for, right? It was really impressive to see a legacy institution redirect itself so quickly and deploy its expertise in a really meaningful way. Yeah. What would be something you would like to say to the library lovers and donors that are listening to us now?
I would say, my specific portfolio, Digital Innovation, has greatly benefited from donor and community support. So you mentioned different initiatives like the Google IT Certificate Program, which was a program that one of my colleagues ran, but that was a transformational gift that allowed people to gain IT skills that within 8 months that could make them employable. We've had a wonderful partnership with the Brookfield Institute for 2 years where they gave us $100,000 to activate programming for underserved youth to build their basic digital literacy skills. So these are big gifts, but then we also have smaller gifts. When I say small, like they're still meaningful. So we recently, one of my most memorable donor gifts was this $10,000 gift that we got from the estate of Doug Brown. Doug Brown was a gentleman who was part of the Friends of the Library South chapter for many, many years. He's moved on, unfortunately. But through this gift of $10,000, we were able to activate the recording studio at the Toronto Reference Library with equipment that people now use to create podcasts, to create videos, to create demo reels. So, donors make such a huge impact, whether they're smaller amount gifts all the way to these transformational gifts. So, thank you.
And we're able to do what we do by securing money because of the excellence that you and your team bring to the library in the city every day. So it's a mutual win. Thank you for being here today and explaining to us what Manager of Innovation does, the role that it plays with the library, and how you responded so quickly in such a meaningful way during the pandemic.